Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Simply She Podcast Live. I'm your host, Crystal Vernay, and today we're going to be discussing balancing business and motherhood. So, since we're doing this thing live, there's no pause, there's no rewind. We are definitely unfiltered here on the Simply She Podcast, and we definitely want audience participation. So, first things first, make sure that you allow StreamYard access to your Facebook and your YouTube if you want to leave comments under your name. No worries if you don't want to do that. You'll still be able to comment and ask questions, but we would love to be able to acknowledge you. And you can always revoke access to StreamYard at any time after this live. But feel free to drop questions and comments in throughout the discussion. We'll definitely go back and make sure we get to those. Don't be shy. We love to hear from you. But I'm super excited to be talking to my guest today because she is a serial entrepreneur just like me and has built a business while also raising her children. So, for any of you aspiring mompreneurs out there, my guest today is going to be dropping some gems on how you don't have to choose and how you can have both. So, without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce her. Devon Moody-Graham is an international business strategist, international best-selling author, impact speaker, and serial entrepreneur. Devon is the Chief Solutions Officer of CEOMom Empire, which focuses on women's business development. She hosts business conferences globally to provide women with the tools they need to sustain and grow their business. With a spotlight on moms, Devon's journey offers insight on how to overcome the challenges of balancing your business while raising children. Devon's commitment to her clients' success has helped them gross over 4 million plus in revenue and funding. She assists her corporate and individual clients with customer clarity, partnership building, increasing revenue streams, and building a resource arsenal that will keep them as a who's who in their industry, which is awesome. She helps prepare business owners to be attractive to bank lenders and other funders. Helping entrepreneurs find access to capital is a passion of hers, especially for Black business owners. Creating a platform for others to expand their reach and build legacy is her goal. Welcome, Devon, to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have this conversation today. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Tell the listeners a little bit more about you and how you got started in business.
So I have, well, I tell people being an entrepreneur is already a lot in itself. And I've had the opportunity to grow up in an entrepreneurial household. So both of my parents are entrepreneurs, and my dad has been a copper for over 60 years, as well as my mom was a cosmetologist. My grandma was a cosmetologist. So I grew up around that. So very creative people. And although I did think that I would become a business owner, I wasn't sure quite what I did. I actually do know how to do hair. I absolutely hate it. Thank you to Lock. I'm so excited about my Lock journey because I have three girls and I hate to do hair. One of them has locks as well. But this has been such a cool journey because I get to actually help people that look like me, help people who don't look like me to build generational wealth. I'm big on that. So that's I guess the latest thrust with me in business. I've had the opportunity to work with universities, nonprofits, travel a lot with what I do, as well as just really help mold the future because we won't be here, so it's so important for us to help those who are coming along now, and who will be here long after we're gone. So right now I'm doing a lot with university work, helping that next level of leaders, next leader of entrepreneurs, and next group of leaders that are world travelers and global citizens, which is also a passion of mine that I've been able to loop in with business.
Awesome, awesome. What stood out to me, you said you had an entrepreneurial household, so you grew up in it. So it's funny. I'm like, I need to take a survey, I think, of entrepreneurs now. Did they
Mhm.
grow up in an entrepreneurial household, or are they the first ones in their family to start a business? My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom's side hustles. My dad owned a limousine company in California when I was little, and he drove around the stars. So like Whitney
Wow.
Houston, New Kids on the Block, like some big names. And this was just him building a business and competing with those other um,
Mhm.
limo companies. And he always was like my biggest supporter and telling me like you can do whatever you want. And also you probably don't want to work for nobody else. Like that was always his thing, which I find so funny now. But Definitely excited to get into a lot of what you just mentioned. So, let's just go ahead and talk about CEO Mom Empire. How did you start that?
So I actually had started um, another group, just a group to support women. It was looking at who my current clients were at the time, probably like 7, 8 years ago. Well, actually, for the most part, most of my individual clients have been women, and a lot of them have had children. And so I just started seeing that commonality. It wasn't planned for me to go along the mom route. And I know it's so crazy, even with, giving birth to 4 children, raising six, I never planned to like create it's even though I have a marketing background. They're like, what? I never really planned to focus in on my business, the mom aspect. I just, did what I needed to do to build a business to take care of my family. And by me just doing that unapologetically, I was really approached by people who saw that I saw so many common needs with women. Because I started facilitating groups for us to meet, just having crayons and coloring sheets for their kids. We might even have somebody breastfeeding during the meeting. It was okay. We still need to get professional development. We need to network, all those things while having children, and of course with our children seeing it. That was very important to me, and because it was very important to me in my own household. I remember having a conversation with someone, not realizing that I kind of was seemed like I was what would you say, kind of molded to create these women's spaces because my mom was in Mary Kay and Tupperware. Mary Kay, Tupperware, and no, that was it. Mary Kay and Tupperware, right? And so those were a lot, mostly women, in those organizations. And just like my mom, I mean, just like I did, I didn't realize, okay, even though I went everywhere with my mom, I went to those rallies with her. I went to those places to see those women gather and, root each other on and cheer and train and things like that. So I'm just now in the last like month realizing that, oh, okay, I've been seeing this for a long time. So it is very much so that it's proof in the pudding that what you see, either you're going to do it or not do it, right? But I did
Mm,
take what I saw then, and I didn't even realize it until a month ago until a month ago that I was doing that and creating that for other women. So after the mom group, I decided, you know what? I do this. I advocate for, for women, for moms, for CEOs. I'm just going to switch my name because this wasn't my first business. My first business was called Creatively Strategic Solutions. That was my consulting firm. And so I went ahead and dissolved that one and I started this one formally as CEO Mom Empire because I'm building an empire for my family. So, yeah.
absolutely. I love it. And I love that you create a safe space for women. That's one of the things that I pride myself on as well, in a lot of different aspects. So, one of my other businesses, I own a pole studio. And so that's definitely a space where I
Yes.
hold for women to be themselves, to dance, to let their hair down, bring out their divine feminine on a daily basis. And I think, as you mentioned, like you didn't even realize that you had been almost conditioned or molded to
Mhm.
like hold a space. And I kind of had a similar experience that I've always been in groups or in places where women would gather. Or that was something that was natural to me. And also I think too, it was important for me to create a space that I never had or like that I
Mhm.
felt like that I was missing. So I think it's either one of those two things. Like when we start a business around something that we like didn't even realize we actually had
Mhm.
a particular zone
Right.
of genius around, right? Yeah. So tell me about what it would be like if I was a client or if one of our listeners was a client, what it would be like to work with you.
So, I'm very high energy. I'm very big on accountability, and I'm very big in you doing your homework so that you know your company inside and out, whether I'm there or not. Right. So it would be, just a short intake process with connecting. We would call and meet and see that if my work style meets how you're able to work, because that's very important. I know early on in my consulting, and everyone's starting out, you just take all the business you can because you're trying to make money, right? Whether it's going to be a headache or not, it's just like I'm trying to make money. But my thing is, am I a good fit for you? Because I have such an amazing group of people, other women that do things that are similar to what I do, and I refer out. I think you'll be a better fit here. That's why it's important to build network. I refer people to them, and they refer people to me because they know how I work and I know how they work. And so after determining that it's a good fit, We look at your goals. I'm big on what I call the three R's: relationships, resources, and revenue. And so we look at those things in terms of where your status, what's your status with relationships. And I think back to like, who are your current key partners? Who would you like them to be? We look at your resources. What are your key activities and what do you need in order for them to be better? You know, who can you connect with? Who has these resources? And then ultimately, after building out a strategy based on that, we look at how this can increase your current revenue streams. Or a lot of times, most times, I call myself the revenue stream queen unofficially because I can usually find another revenue stream that's like, that doesn't take as much effort because we want to make money in ways. It's like, oh, I could have a spinoff. I have a secondary or a tertiary customer that, you know, I can make some extra money without using much more time, you know, whether it's totally
Mhm.
passive or just a way to include other people to increase that. So that's how I flow. And then we look at that with milestones, whether we're working 3, 6, 9 or for the whole year, and then we flow in that way. And a lot of people, I still do work with some individual clients, but I'm mostly working with a lot of universities and other like CDCs or those of federal institutions that have funds for businesses. I've most recently been working with a lot of them that have funds for minority owned businesses. So I like to resource gather so that I can bring back programs and things for people that look like me. So I take on those clients so I can kind of reverse the situation and get things where they're needed. So that's a lot of what I'm doing now too.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like an amazing experience. I think one of the things you said that really resonates with me is making sure that it's a good fit, like
Mm-hmm.
both ways. Because a lot of times it might not be, people are like, oh, such and such, it just wasn't for me. And you do have to consider like work styles of the person
Mm-hmm.
that you're working with, and also being open to pivoting and change as well. I think that's an
Yeah.
important thing, especially when you bring on a consultant. That's the whole reason that
Yeah.
they're there.
Yeah.
People have to be in the right set, right mindset, and they also have to be ready they have to be ready for the engagement, so to speak,
Yeah.
at all levels. So that I think that's really really important. So I know that like building a business, we face a lot of different challenges, and I know like I'm not a mom yet, but I know moms face a lot of unique challenges, especially when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to business. So can you talk a little bit about some challenges that you've overcome as a mom and as a business owner?
Oh goodness. It's a lot of stories within that because my as I say, I've started over again. So my children's ages range in the minor children, they range in age from 3 to look 26. But the minor children 3 to 17. So I have a teenager getting ready to go to college, as well as, thank God, I am done potty training. No more Pampers. Woo! I was so excited about that. And she's about to go to school in the fall. But time, we all get the same amount of time, each and every one of us. So it's so important that we make the most of it. Just as I show up with energy and things with work, I have to show up with that same energy for my family. And if not, I'm doing them a disservice. You know, yes, we know that we're tired with doing work and things like that. So it's very important. Like, even so today, my 6-year-old daughter, Carly, she said, Mom, can we have some alone time? Because I want to go to the park or do something. I'm like, okay, well, we're all gonna go to the park because I gotta make sure everybody gets their outing. But I'm gonna take some separate time with her so that we'll probably get ice cream or work it out when I pick her up from camp. Because being a mom of multiple children, it's very challenging. Having one child is challenging, but I think when I got to 3 and the age difference, I was like, oh Lord, help me, Jesus. It was just a lot. Because I have a blended family, and it quickly got to that amount. Like, so actually, I'm saying when I got to 3, when I got to 4, actually, I'm sorry, because with the blended family, within a year of me being married, I went from one child to 4. Can you see that? 4. 4. I thought I was going to lose it. I thought I was going to lose it because my son at the time, he was turning 7. And then my son that I gained, he was 1 going on 2. I had a teenage daughter who was 14. And then I got pregnant as soon as we got married. I said, Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus take the wheel. That was my first struggle with postpartum depression. I didn't know what that looked like because I actually didn't go through it. Even with village, it doesn't matter. People will still can get postpartum depression even with a strong village. But I actually didn't have it with my son. I don't know if it had to do with age. I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's so many factors around it, but I did definitely. I had postpartum depression in a major way because I forgot that I had a baby almost, and it took my son. I remember because it had just been he and I for so long. It was just he and I when I was a single mother, and we had gone to the mall. That was my first outing outside of a doctor's appointment, and I was getting out the car. He was like, "Ma, you got to get Kennedy." I'm like, "Huh?" Because I'm like, "Come on, Greg. Come on, Greg." I said, "Oh my goodness!" That was my first outing with my baby. I didn't forgot that I had a whole nother baby. Like that's when I knew something was kind of off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started talking to somebody about it. And I was like, "What's this?" And of course, you get all the pamphlets and all the paperwork and all those things and in the hospital, but nothing can compare you to when the baby goes home, your whole life changes, and you're like, oh, yeah, I do have a brand new baby. I do have somebody else depending on me. I do have someone else that's like, mama, hey, I'm here. I can't do anything for myself. And so, what I would say is really getting adjusted to motherhood because, like I said, mine changed. It went from one kid to four kids within less than a year, and that was life changing for me. And that's when I knew I had to do things differently. And also, I didn't even learn to give myself grace until years after that. So that's another story. I just thought I was a horrible mother. I thought I was not killing it, even though other people were like, oh, you do so many things with your kids. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go crazy though. So, really allowing those people in to compliment and support you is what I would just tell moms. Allow people to help you. Pride does nothing but hurt you. Those are some things that I had to overcome was my life changing from going from to such a big family very quickly, thinking I was a horrible person, thinking I was a horrible mom because I couldn't quite get it together. Even though other people were saying I was killing it, I didn't think so. So getting out of your mind, whether it's in your personal and your business, is so important because that's when I started compartmentalizing work. And you have to, but it also can damage the way you think about other things if you separate them too much. You could be killing it in business and you're like, oh, I suck in my personal life. And you have to just give yourself grace. So if I would say something, please like accept the compliments, accept the help and all everything that you're doing so that you can thrive in both.
Awesome. That was a lot of message
Yeah.
in that, and I think when we talk about balancing, it definitely is a balancing act, especially when you have multiple children. I'm like, I'm just the auntie, but sometimes they got to call me in, like, hey, I need to
Yes.
take the kids for like a whole day. I'm like, all right, what we about? I was like, now don't get mad when I send them back, and then they had all the sugar, and we then went to the amusement park. And we did all the different things. Went to Jamboree or whatever that place is, Sky Zone. I don't
Yeah.
even know. I just be
Uh-huh.
finding stuff for them to do. So, or
Thank
or
you.
we
Thank you,
we do.
Auntie. Thank you. I love my kids' aunties. They are life savers. Oh my gosh. And I'm a great auntie too as well. But I couldn't do it without my TTs. Like thank you. Thank you for being a great auntie because aunties, they are the glue to the village. Okay.
Yeah, but the next
Yeah.
thing I'm working on is an obstacle course for the kids. So we're gonna see how
Oh
that
Lord.
works.
I'm
Yeah, I
sending my
know.
kids your way.
Some people love it. They be like, "Oh, you doing what?" I'm about to we sending all the kids over there. I'm like, I think I done set myself up, but it's okay. It's cool, and I
I'm taking a
definitely
road
like.
trip. I'm taking a road trip. I'm bringing all the kids to you.
I can appreciate it, and I love helping out because I know how important it is, and like watching my friends, especially, like doing the balancing act, whether it's career or business, and then trying to raise their children. I'm like, y'all my heroes because I don't know how you do it sometimes. Just some of the things they be telling me, pictures they be sending me. I'm like, what happened? What's happening right now?
We don't know. We just wake up and kids have like the whole thing of Vaseline, and I'm glad I don't have powder in the house anymore, but
Flower.
Vaseline and oil.
Oh, yeah, just some of the things I've seen. I'm like, man, they're like, you still want kids? They be saying like, listen, you want this? I'm like, but I do though. Like,
Because they're fun. And they used to call my first son, they used to call him BC for birth control. because he was very active. He's still active. But yeah, so they waited quite a while because they were like, "Oh, we just gonna stay at TT status for right now." And like I said, they're amazing TTs. I remember when my son had a blowout in one of my friend's new cars. She had a
Ooh.
coupe. She had just gotten a coupe, baby. It was so cute. It was like an electric blue color, 2 door. She was like, "He had a blowout." I was like, "Yep, that happens." And I was out of town for work. They watched him. They watched him. I was out of town for work, and it was two of
Oh,
my friends that didn't have kids at the time. Baby, you should have saw that face. It was like he just blew up. Like he, but I just changed him. I said, "Yeah, it still happens. It still happens," and I'm thankful because they still love him. His godmother's car, actually. I'm thankful because yeah, he had a big blow up in the back in the car, and she was like, "What is this?" So like leaking and everything in her new car.
woo, woo. I mean, I've seen it. So I mean, I don't know. We don't know how it happens. It defies gravity and all things that are normal, but it just
It's like up the side, up the back.
I
Like,
don't
how
know.
did it get around to the side? It's on the side, it's on the back, it's down, it's all, everywhere. That's
I
so
don't
funny.
know. I mean, I don't think it's funny at the time, but you can laugh after.
No,
You
not
laugh
at the time.
after.
Not at the time, just afterwards. And I always take pictures. I'd be like, "Did you take?" Because this was a new one. This is a new one. Yeah, I was like, I don't even know how. Like how?
I don't know. But I think this kind of, I mean, it kind of does tie into my next question of when we talked and we connected before, we both shared our personal stories and like the
Mm-hmm.
detriment of like not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Did you want to share a little bit about that? Why it's important to secure your own oxygen mask first? Because I think that story definitely speaks, it speaks volumes to why self care is important.
Yes, and even though yes, I love to, get my nails done and toes done and stuff, and that's great, when people have their own terms or ideas around self-care. The real self-care is really your health, like your inner health. It was Look, I didn't have my last two girls, so it's so funny because that's how my life is. I'm like, yeah, I didn't have my last two girls, didn't have them at the time. So I actually had just left a birthday party, and I have was feeling kind of hot, and so later I started feeling so hot that I had like swelling under my armpits. I had swelling like on my neck. I was just really hot, and I thought it was because I had been dancing or whatever. I'm like, what, what's going on? So I ended up leaving. It was a someone's birthday party. So I ended up leaving the party. I'm headed to my brother's to go get my kids. And I get there, I'm still feeling just kind of hot. My throat, it's not hurting. It's like not pain. It's just feeling a little uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I let the window down. I'm just trying to think. Maybe I'm just a little hot. I was dancing. I was getting it now, because I was still like. I mean, I still dance now, but I was really getting it because this is almost 10 years ago. And so I get to my brother's house, and he was like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, just kind of feel a little off. Again, no pain. I'm not in pain, just knew something was off. And so I get my kids, and then end up going home because he didn't stay too far from me. I was like, okay, something a little off. And I did think, okay, I probably should go to the doctor, but I wasn't like rushing, not the way I rush for everybody else, not the way I'm, making a beeline to get there. I'm like, okay. So my son has eczema, allergy, asthma, all those things. And so he had some prednisone. And I know that steroid, like if you feel a little swelling or anything like that, that's what they use for congestion. So I just took a little swig of that. I was like, maybe, something's going on. So I ended up taking the kids back to my brother's. Took myself to the doctor, and then my husband ended up meeting me there. I tell them, get to the counter, I'm telling them what's going on. She's like, you having problems breathing? I'm like, it's, kind of swelling. It's been swelling, just kind of telling her. I was not like, there was no urgency. There was no sense of urgency. I'm just like, because there's no pain. I'm
Hmm.
just like, okay, I'm just kind of feeling a little hot. I'm telling her I was a little swollen, just a little. They get me back there. They took me straight to the back, and the lady, another lady came in there with an EpiPen and just jabbed me in my stomach. I'm like, okay, you know, and I immediately did that, and I could breathe better. She said if you hadn't got here, so afterwards she asked me, I told her that I had taken that later. She said if you wouldn't have gotten here like when you did, and if you wouldn't have taken that, she said you wouldn't be able to breathe. Like you would have suffocated, you would have died. there was nothing in me that told me that I would have died. Like, I'm just like, I'm feeling a little off. I'm a little hot. I was just getting it. I had a little drink. I'm just thinking I'm hot because of that. My throat was feeling off again. Like I said, there was no pain. It did feel like I wasn't gasping. I wasn't gasping. I did feel like a little something, but no sense of urgency. And I think about
Mhm.
how we are so quick to take care of everyone else around us. We're so quick to tell them what they need to do. They need to take care of this. You need to see about that. But I literally, when I think about, like, procrastination almost killed me, period. I was like, I'm okay. It's not bad. I don't feel pain. I'm okay. I'm just glad that I remembered to take a swig of that, that prednisone, because it slowed things down enough for me to get there and be able to talk. And the way that they were urgent about me, I wasn't even urgent about myself.
Mhm.
And we do that in life. So that real self-care is looking out, and let me go back to how, so afterwards, I'm sorry, afterwards I had to make an appointment because they asked me if I had any allergies. I'm like, no. They looked in my records to see any food allergies, any medicine allergies, and it was a, like, mind-boggling to them as to why I came in there not being able to breathe. And so when I think about that, it's like, okay, Devin, what's going on? I knew I was stressed, but I did not know that that stress is what ultimately what led to this. So I had to go to another doctor. They sent me to get all the allergy tests and everything. And now my baby is trying to crawl up here. Wait a minute. Say hi, Kobe. Okay, now go back to your room.
Hi.
She snuck out like, nope. Y'all thought y'all was gonna hold me. Okay. And so I literally, it was mind-boggling to me. It was mind-boggling to the doctors because I had no food allergies after they did all those tests, skin tests, food. They test, I don't even know all the stuff they tested me from for. Shellfish, all kinds of food,
Mhm.
everything. And they were like, no, everything is negative. Have you been under any stress lately? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was stress. So the stress is brought that on underneath my skin, started hives and everything. So in essence, there were hives and swelling that started in my body and it took over my throat. And that's what almost killed me, was stress.
Yeah. Stress is
It was
real. That's
stress.
why I tell people, like, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling burnt out, you definitely need to talk to somebody, go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. A lot of times, what's intangible will manifest in your body. Like I have a similar story of how I was stressed out, and my fibroids, they grew from the size of like a pea to the size of a small melon. I had to go to emergency surgery, and again, I almost bled to death. And I was just like, the doctor was like, you gotta go to surgery today. I was like, no, I can't go today because I got work and I got a business and I got no one knows I'm here. And it was just like all this stuff. I was like having like a whole anxiety meltdown, mainly because like I literally just went, you go to the doctor with a certain mindset, and then you are
Mhm.
being told you have to like go now to save your life. That was like really scary for me. But it's the same thing, like being so stressed out and not paying attention to all the signs, being in
Mhm.
immense pain. You were feeling uncomfortable. I was in pain like a lot, and I was just like, I mean, oh well. That was literally, I gotta go to work. Like that literally was the mindset. So anybody who's like really stressed, definitely don't ignore it, because as you can see, it can definitely manifest in your body and be
Yes.
extremely detrimental. So we're glad that you did that. We're glad that you took the prednisone, and we're
Right.
glad that you
I'm
went to the
glad I'm
doctor.
glad that you went to the doctor because we need to be here. We needed to
Yes,
be here. Okay.
yes. Like, look, we telling each other we did. We know we need to be here. Yes, like that was definitely when you said that, I was like, man, I mean, are we the same person? Because
Yes.
it literally,
We better now. We better now. We
yes,
learned. We
yes,
learned. You got to tell me
yes,
that twice, cuz baby, I was like, "Oh, I could have almost died." So if I hadn't
yep,
taken that, I probably wouldn't even made it to the doc. I probably wouldn't even made it there. I would have already had stopped breathing if I wouldn't have taken
hmm
that swig of stuff. it's like that's real because people have died with like less complicated complications, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and you're like, what? So yeah, you don't have to tell me that again. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I learned my
If y'all
lesson.
if y'all don't leave with nothing else, stress is real.
Hmm.
Don't let it fester. Make sure you get, you do what you need to do in order to take care of yourself first. So that's if we don't talk about nothing else today, that's
Nothing.
that's one lesson that we want to
Yes.
impart to y'all. Um, but yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. And you mentioned about working with colleges and universities, and I thought something that was interesting that you mentioned to me was the business accelerator training that you do. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm actually working with an HBCU in the St. Louis area called Harrisville State University. It's been great because I've been able to work on multiple projects with them. Besides being an advisor and kind of a mentor for some of the work that they do, I've also been able to work with them. With creating a business accelerator, and with that, so we had like a pilot, and then we opened this one to current college students, alum, and community members to join to really just get a better foundation for their businesses. And because a lot of times we're missing that very foundational information. And that information is detrimental to us growing in business. You know, we have to get those foundations together. So that's mostly what the program is helping them to build a network. It's also helping them to create a plan to move forward. And so a business model canvas is one of the things that we work on, and that's one of the deliverables, so that because they need that note to apply for any accelerator or like across the country to show that they understand their business. So I've also been able to work with college students in a global entrepreneurship program, and they ended with the program which I took some of them to Paris, and that was amazing. That was in the end of June, and they had I just saw one of the students as I was just out on the town last weekend, and just to see their faces, to see how much they learn has been great. Because it's helping prepare them for the next level and creating those global citizens, those leaders, and just having experiences that they can pass on. So I'm really big on working with college students to do things that I didn't get to do, because another reason that I'm passionate about the international travel is because when I was in college, I was actually accepted to study abroad in London. But I just had my son, and they were even going to take me with my son, but I was afraid. I was afraid to
Mm,
go. And so I share that story, and looking at hindsight, how I'm able to now take students and help them to reach goals and to do things. It's really a full circle moment for me to make sure that I'm helping to prepare them, um, and so they can have a leg up on where I was at their age.
absolutely. I love that you've taken students abroad. I think one of my most memorable experiences was having the opportunity to travel abroad in high school.
Mhm.
I went to Spain and then I also went to Italy. It was just like they just offered it, which was like like we could go over the summer, which was like it was definitely a experience that I'll always remember. And
Yeah.
just getting outside of the country, having an
Hmm.
opportunity to experience other cultures, I think is really, really, and countries is really, really important.
Yeah.
And then I love that you're working with college students to learn about running their businesses and really understanding what it takes and how they can secure funding and all
Yes.
those different things. I think that's knowledge that a lot of people they take for granted and they
Hmm.
scurry and try to find it. And it's really you have someone who's made it accessible to you at an early age and at the foundational level of your business, which is really important.
Yeah,
So
so you can do it right, the first time, you know,
yeah,
and not have to start off as much, because it's definitely a practice. But you can do it better the first time, and it makes a lot of difference.
absolutely, absolutely. Run further, faster. Run further,
Mhm.
faster.
Mhm.
Yes. So you've done quite a bit, and you're also an author, just like me. So I want to like just kind of hear a little bit about some of your literary works and what inspired you to write.
Yeah, so it's so crazy because I know it's so many different books. I tell everybody has a book or two or three or 10, inside of them. And I have been afraid to do that for a minute. Mm-hmm. Yes, and she doesn't care. Daddy said no. Okay, well you can't have it then. I'll get it later. Again, the 3-year old, when everyone else is quiet, she slides out the room. Yes. Okay, tell Carly. She doesn't care. She's like, girl, I don't care what you're doing. Like, can you just do what I need you to do? But that book was around procrastination. And I did a workbook with actionable steps and stories that I actually used in my life. And then I know that have helped other people to really hone in on what's keeping them from doing the things that they want to do in their personal and professional life. And so when I think about being nervous, not being informed, not understanding things, feeling hopeless, all of those things are just different variations of fear, you know, because access to information is there. You just don't even want to find the information because what if it works? What if I get this information and it works? You know, what if I create this plan and it works? What if I take care of myself and I'm better for it? What if I apply for that job and I get it and my life changes? What if so it's really all around fear. And so what I do is a deep dive into all those different things that keep us fearful of the better that we deserve. And so that was a cool workbook to write. And so that one is Manifesting Through Procrastination, which is on Amazon. And I actually co-authored a book with a group of amazing women called Overcoming. And it was Overcoming Living Our Best Life Despite of. And in my chapter, I actually speak about self-definition and really taking on how to redefine yourself in terms of who you are. My definition or new definition, self definition around motherhood was important to me because we come from where I am in age. I have siblings that are old enough to be my parents. My parents are baby boomers, but my grandparents being very traditional. My grandmother stayed at home. My grandfather, worked. My dad was the first entrepreneur actually on his side to do things differently outside of working, for the railroad or working, and doing those jobs. And so when I think about the fact that he started switching things up sooner to say, okay, I'm not going to do these jobs that, you have to work this one job for 40 years and retire. We know that doesn't exist anyway now, but um, it was important for me to say, because I choose to have children, get married, I can still have a fabulous life. I can still, travel and do these things despite what people think a mother should do. Even my mom, who was a stay-at-home mom at first, she had both worked. She had worked, and then she was a stay-at-home mom when I was a baby, and she would not understand some of the things, but always be supportive. Because there were things that she wanted to do, and because of the time she grew up in, she didn't have a chance to do. So it was very important for her that even though I don't understand everything you want to do, and some of them are a little crazy, I'm going to support you because, I didn't have that same kind of support because it was so different than what was
Mm-hmm.
going on around me. And that's what I wrote about in my chapter. And I wrote about each of the successes and things that happened during the time, even as my family grew, moving up to the point where I planned my first international business conference when my baby was like days. I started it planning it when she was like days old. I was working on relationships when I was pregnant with her, and that was with my fourth baby. And so just looking at that, and I'm really big on you defining or redefining what you want your life to be, because we only get this one on earth. People believe different things, and that's fine. But I know that we only have this one life in this way now. And so I'm going to use that and do what I need to do in this one now. So,
Absolutely. Listen, y'all, one life to live. So you want to
listen.
basically live it to the
Mm-hmm.
fullest. And
Yep.
whatever you want to do, I truly believe that resonates with me a lot because I definitely believe it's important to live life on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So many people are stuck, including me at one point was stuck on living for
Me too.
others and what
Mm-hmm.
other people wanted to do. And I was so caught up in what others thought of me. And I was just like, well,
Mm-hmm.
dang, I'm not even in control of my own life. That
Right.
realization came and I was like, well, wait a minute, let's switch this up because this is actually my life. So I
Mm-hmm.
should be able to live it on my own terms. And that's really important. So kudos to you
Absolutely.
for writing around that topic and giving us some gems around how we can do that more intentionally for ourselves. So for sure. So with all that you've learned, all the things that you've done, What advice would you give women and our moms looking to start a business?
So the first thing I would do, I would really say consider something that you are passionate about, but that's twofold because as I've been along this journey, you have women who just need to make some extra money. It may not be something that you're passionate about. Now, when it's two things to do, you can start a side hustle that later comes into a business that you want to keep. Or if you need to make some money because maybe you're transitioning from being a stay at home mom, or your life may be transitioning, where you need more income, whatever that may be. If there's something that you're good at and you can make that something transactional, build relationships around it so that it won't just be one-off transactions. And this is like realistic information because not everyone is going to take the time to do all those other things. But really, whatever that thing that you're good at, if you can make that transactional, make yourself competitive in that space. Let's say, for instance, making candles. I know a lot of people are doing, making candles. They have their own thing. Make it your own. If your customer, of course, anybody can buy candles, but I have, $5 candles and I have $30 candles. So those customers are out there depending on how you market it. The $30 candle was like in a velvet bag and it had a different tin and it had, you know, I'm not saying I'm gonna buy a lot of them, but I will if that's what I want. Then I'll buy it. So you don't have to just place your candles for $5. If your materials cost three, no, that makes absolutely no sense. It's not even worth your time. So make sure that you're pricing it a way that you can at least recoup your costs and more. You got your time, and then any marketing that you're doing, vending fees, that's marketing, that's getting it out. So make sure that it makes sense for you to do that. So for that, make sure your costs are on point. Make sure that you have some kind of value proposition, something unique. What's your unique sale to people? Make sure that you understand that, because anybody can make a candle. These are candles that have many affirmations on the back. Oh, I'll buy it just for that. I'll pay $15, $20 just because each candle has a different affirmation. Make your thing your own. For those people who are looking to build a business that may either replace, full-time employment, or something like that, you need to do, I would say do a little bit more business planning on the end. Look up business model canvas. You can actually look at YouTube videos. You definitely, at the end, I'll send my information, if anyone has questions about it. But you need to have a business model. You need to know what your unique selling point is, who your customers, your marketing, who are your partners, activities, how much does it cost, big thing, and how much money can you make. So you need to understand all those things. And like I said, you can Google business model canvas, which you can watch YouTube videos on it, and you can find that document that you can work on and start plugging and playing. From there, as you follow that piece, build relationships around whatever that end thing that you want to do. Find people who are doing it. Get on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn so that you can find those relationships. Find groups on Facebook. Find groups on meetups. So that you need to meet people virtually and now in person. And so build those relationships with people that are doing something similar to what you want to do, so that you can be in that same community. Because like I said, I have friends, like these are my actual friends now outside of just business, that not good fit for me. I got somebody for you that I'm referring people to, and that's vice versa. I was actually brought in on some of these projects from a friend who was like, okay, this is the part I know how to do, this is the part Devon can do. So you
Yeah.
want to get in those spaces. People think that, oh, I don't need to be around those people, they do the same thing I do. There's enough money to go around. And when you have capacity and you have a crew, a tribe, as I call it, as we call it, to have a good tribe, that's how you actually can become more sustainable, because you have more people working with you. So those are the two ways I would say, whether it's something transactional to get, some money going, just do it right, and make sure that you're pricing it right and getting it out there to people, and get a good merchant service. Yes, I know people can use Cash App to start, but if you eventually want to get funding and stuff, you got to have a merchant. Like, you got to have some sales recorded so that you can get loans and get your business bank account. Those are things you need to have in place if this is something you're going to do long term. You can't keep using Cash App forever. So,
Yeah. No catch up. I
mhm.
just like, you definitely dropped a lot of gems there. I heard have a business plan, and you have something called business model canvas that they can look up and like basically do research, build relationships. Definitely all solid advice, thinking about what your unique value proposition is going to be. Definitely all things that I would definitely tell my clients as well. So, I mean, guys, Devin just dropped a whole bunch of gems that you guys need to. If you didn't catch it, you can definitely listen to the replay on the Simply She Facebook and YouTube page. But yes, all things you need to consider when you are starting a business. So you definitely have a lot of knowledge, Devin. So who are some people that you look up to as mentors or that you followed that maybe have impacted your life?
Okay, tell I said to get it. She literally is my gangster baby. Like everybody else is like, mom is working. I'm not coming in there. But how did you slip out the door? Like, how did you slip out the room door? She's like a little ninja, right? No, but who am I looking up to? Oh my goodness. I like so there's actually two Christy Jacksons in my life. So my very, very great sister friend, Christy Jackson, who is in the St. Louis area that's doing amazing work. And I follow Christy Jackson on a Women CEO project because she gives a lot of jewels. She's very helpful to women, and she's a realist, and she wants everybody to be, important. And she just won't get out of my seat. And so, who else would I say I follow? Oh, Rachel Rogers. So I'm not done
Mhm.
with the book yet, but I'm not done with the book yet, but she's definitely someone who I love the fact that the title of the book, Everyone Should Be Millionaires, and I'm following her more like on social media and getting her information about ways to make, more money because she just really opens our eyes that we really have what we need. We have to look at our networks, our net worth, and what we are, how we are assets. So people who are talking, anyone who's talking about asset building, people who are talking about generational wealth and realistic ways to get there, I'm following all those people. What they say, I'm rooting for everybody black. I am too, though. But who else? Those are a lot of people in the spaces that she wants. I have it on my lips. Thank you, baby. I need a little more. I'll put it on later. Savage. She's like, you need a little more. You need a little more.
Honesty, man, can't escape it.
That's all they know. That's all they know. Is that. But yeah, who else in this space? You know what? Not even in the space. Well, I love Issa Rae. I love because she's doing so many things that are different. Um, she is really, I mean, she's marching to the beat of her own drum. The way that she created that partnership with American Express for Black-owned
Mhm.
businesses, that was just like that was her way to say, "I'm rooting for everyone Black." Okay, baby. And so, anyone who wants us to, there's no way to repay, of course, reparations, right? But there's even no way for it to really repay all that was taken from us. And it's really important for me to be around people that are going to help pay it forward. So anyone is doing that because that's what I do in my work is to pay it forward.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So I know you have a lot going on, but are there any new projects that you're working on?
Yes. So in addition to the accelerator, I'm also really working on speaking around my books more. So I had so much going on because they actually both were published in March of this year. And then I had a lot of travel, speaking and traveling, but I am definitely looking forward to speaking more around manifesting through procrastination and pushing through that fear. That's something that I really want to speak on, and that's to anyone. I've done that at a couple colleges and some small groups and universities out of the area, and I'm really big on pushing the message of overcoming because there's so many things that people have to overcome, and a lot of times say, well, I haven't gone through as much as the next person, but you've gone through your own, and that's your story, and so how dare you minimize who you are and what you've gone through because that's a part of your story. Everyone's journey is different, and so paying attention to your story, your journey, and then showing that everyone else's journey is valid. Their feelings are valid, and what they've gone through is important. So, how do we move on to the next steps? I really want to do more speaking around my books, and I'm also working on a workbook, another workbook. I'm big on workbooks because I like to write in them. So I know
Hmm.
another book is coming, and this has been in the works for a while. Not sure if this is the final name, but it will probably be called the CEO Mom Chronicles. Mama. But now that I put it out there, I guess it might have to be called that, right? But it really will look at all angles of motherhood, from blended families to women who have women who have had children and lost them, the grief, grandmothers, and really look at more, not so much around the business, but how we are this, because we're the CEO of our homes, and how that's affected our lives. And I want a story for everyone. I want a story for because I have friends, amazing friends now, who are working to have children, and it's like I'm very empathetic because I didn't have to have that journey, and there's another whole journey around it, and being supportive, like in that space. And also, I'm the one that helps keep people out of other people's uteruses. Leave people's uteruses alone, you know. Like, leave people alone. Stop asking people when they gonna have another baby. Stop asking them if they are gonna have a baby. That has always been a problem. Do you know I still have people ask me when I'm gonna have like, dang, how many you gonna take care of some of these? How many more? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop after you have your first or second. They will continue. It's like, really? Are
Well,
you
that's
really
good to
gonna?
know.
Yes. It's like you gonna still keep asking.
That's good to
Stay out
know.
of
Prepare myself. Yeah. Mm.
that's crazy. So I'm the one. I'll ask about something else. She got a whole lot of stuff going on. Why you in her uterus? What?
I don't know what that's about, but yeah, definitely it'll be the topic of Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, New Year's dinner.
That's
You'd be like,
crazy.
can we
I
talk
get so
about something else?
angry. I get angry. I step what if I hear it? Oh, I'm saying something. I'll say something
Oh,
like, "Oh no, she good. She got one of my kids. She good. Don't ask her nothing else. Stay out of her uterus." Like, come on now, grandmas, TTs, uncles, leave folks alone.
it's true. Like, or
That's
the
crazy.
other's like, when you gonna get a man? Like, oh, oh,
You
oh.
can't. And then listen. And then when you get a man, then it's the baby. Then it's the baby. It's like, dang. I just can I enjoy. Can I enjoy the man that I have? Can I enjoy him without the kids? Like, do I just
Oh.
have to? And then it all goes back to archaic thinking, though. It does. It goes back to I and that a woman has to have this man and this child in order to be complete. She can't
Hmm.
be complete by herself.
Yeah,
She can't be complete. What are you talking about? She can't be complete without a husband and a child. What? It's like, are you serious? But that's what people actually thought and
yeah,
think. So I
yeah,
wish I could say thought.
yeah.
Some
Still
people have
think.
evolved, but still think.
Yeah, still think. You got to be complete and whole before you join with somebody else. That's definitely
Exactly.
that's the truth.
Exactly. Or you'll be going through a whole lot of mess. A whole lot of
Absolutely.
it.
We got a
This has been
comment.
so good.
Teresa says,
Okay.
I get, she said, I get asked that too, and I have a dog is my answer.
Listen, you better talk about your fur baby.
Good answer.
Yes.
Good answer.
Good
Like,
answer.
survey says that's the number one answer.
Exactly.
Ah, I don't see any questions, but I do have one final question for you. Are there any last pieces of words or words of advice you would like to share with us?
Yes. Run your own race at your own pace. So I'm going to add that. Run your own race at your own pace. We all have our own races to run. We all have so many things that we're supposed to accomplish in our personal lives. And don't let other people. She's like, I don't care. This is my savage baby. There you go, baby. Don't let anyone else determine your pace, what you do, because you'll just have to go back and undo it because it was never part of your plan. You have to go back and undo it, and myself included. When it came to the work that I was doing, I'm glad I didn't get too far off pace, but I started doing all kinds of things. But run your own race at your own pace, literally, both in your personal and your professional lives, and you'll be better for it. Because when I think about that, if we stop as much comparison, we'll be healthier, We won't be as stressed. And I know it's human nature to compare. And so we're not saying I have good people to, model or to look at things for, but don't stress yourself out about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Devin, how can listeners contact you if they like more information? Drop those websites, social handles. Tell us where we can find you.
Yes, so I try to be as consistent as possible. Look, marketing background, so you can find me Devon Moody-Graham on Facebook, on Instagram, now on Twitter. My name was too long, so it's Devon Moody-Graham. I couldn't put the last A in. It's like, listen, your name is too long. So find me in all those places. My website is devonmoodygraham.com, and I have some new things coming out soon. I've been doing a lot of traveling, so I do have updates to do as well. But yeah, I am here and I'm very accessible and ready to connect.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this has been awesome, guys. I love the conversation that we had. For more information on Devin, how to contact and connect with her, you can click the link in the show notes for this episode at isimplyShe.com/podcast. Again, that's isimplyShe.com/podcast. And if you are a coach or you're a consultant and you're ready to start earning consistent income in your business that replaces your 9 to 5, your freelance, or your one-to-one, click the link in the show notes and apply for the Brand Builder Blueprint um, program. So I hope you guys have found what we shared to be helpful today. I want to thank Devin so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate you. And remember, guys, you too can conquer if you slay hard every day. Thank you so much, Devin.
Thank you.